Hi, this is Sniz with Bloodbane, World 11, Lord of Ultima. Today is September 3rd, and I'm hopefully going to keep this to a simple one-parter, but I wanted to go ahead and start using, just by example, through video, some of the attacks against us and attacks we may do to start trying to cover some of the mechanics of how to go about plundering and some of the effects of psychological warfare and timing and false attacks and whatnot. So, basically, ever since we've been engaged in our little conflict with DAK, Duh Knights, obviously, when I brought my castle online here, this is the only castle so far. But once I brought that online, I am using it to do as much damage as I can. There's not a lot I can do, but I can, play a little bit of psychological warfare games, get a little bit of plunder. The point of plundering is not necessarily for resources. The truth is, if you want resources, raid dungeons. Plunders is a mixed bag. If you have an active player, it can obviously be defended against and adjusted, but it keeps them on their toes. It affects their ability to build. It costs money. It makes it an expensive thing to be on the continent. So, considering I have plenty of iron and plenty of troops and not a ton else to do with it, then, as I'm working on other things, I'm basically just using this castle to do as much as I can. Now, one of the key points, and this is why I've been really promoting the idea of understanding the power of local control, local castles, properly supported, good spacing, that kind of a thing. One of the primary flaws in the Denied strategy in terms of spread thin and all over the world is that you can only really be effective in a reasonable radius of your castle. Beyond that, you really start to lose a lot of your effect when you have significant amounts of travel time. So there's a lot to picking a strategic location, what area you want to control, what do you want to do with it, picking the right tool for the right job. At this point, what we're primarily focused on is continental control. That's landlocked castles and proximity to shrines. The goal basically being to wreak a little bit of havoc in the area, make it to establish a foothold, intimidate others from building there, intimidate others from thinking about building any kind of military presence there, and to make it an uncomfortable place to be if you're our enemy near a shrine, which is the whole goal of this castle. So I've been hitting back and forth, doing all kinds of different tactics and whatnot throughout the day. I've been throwing plunders here and there. I crushed a couple of castles of some either inactive or low activity players, non-DAK members. Mostly I've just been hitting what I can for the Knights here. Now, Sir Green's here. He said something in one of his recent emails about, I don't follow my own advice or whatever. What he's probably talking about, I'll save you the hassle of asking him for a screenshot. Fucking idiot. Let's see. I've been throwing false attacks at him and whatnot, just keeping him on his toes, keeping him basically costing him administrative headache to deal with the city. That's what kind of starts to happen, especially when you have a lot of cities. When you got a city under attack and plunder and siege, you just have to spend a lot of time. It's a lot of micromanagement to keep your resources under plunder levels and keep your troops. It's expensive. It just makes it not a very profitable city for you, which is my only objective. So basically what he's probably talking about I quote, don't follow my own advice, which he wouldn't understand what I'm doing or why if I wrote him a book about it. He's probably talking about this plunder. I've been throwing false attacks at him several a day, single, when I say false attacks, the single Zerker just to put his attack screen on, get him to hopefully drop his defenses a little bit or not worry too much when he sees himself being attacked, so that occasionally when I do come in a big wave, he's possibly got some loot in there that I can steal, and I already knew he was building this army. I've been watching him do it, so it's no surprise to me. I knew I was going to lose a lot of Zerks. I have, I don't even know, about 9 million iron in reserve, so I'm not too worried about losing a few thousand Zerks that I build it, I think once every 5 seconds out of my main castle. But anyway, that was, just to let him know I'm still here and still not too pleased with him. So basically this was my attack. Yes, I took heavy losses. He lost some. Obviously, if you're going to sit there uncastled in a single position, throw a bunch of guardians in there, chew all that food, spend all the money to generate those troops that are going to ultimately be useless to him and anything else. My main objective of this was to double check where his building status was. I had previously scouted his building configuration and scouted his new building configuration, and primarily was confirming that he was not yet converting any kind of a military city. And he hasn't. A couple of things I've noticed about his little arrangement. I'm probably going to end up 2 parts here just because I like picking on this guy a little bit. He has 50 levels in sawmills. 60 levels in stonemasons, and 20 levels in foundries. Now, assuming those are all maxed, that means he has a total of 13 overboosters. A good inner city is 6. If you were heavily into resources, which with the other stuff he has going on in this city, he couldn't be, because he's got 11 townhouses. This is gold production for him. He's got his waterways and whatnot. For him to have, this just gives me a little bit of insight about how he plays the game and how well he plays the game. For him to have 11 overboosters tells me that he does not have an optimal city plan here. I don't know exactly what he's doing, but he has not developed an optimal city. He has not even brought his game to the sophistication level to build a full resource city in the best possible configuration. So just looking at this, I can tell you he's got an inefficient resource city. There's no way you can put 11 overboosters. Do the math, grab a spreadsheet, use the layouts. Anyone who knows what they're doing in terms of resource production. 11 overboosters in a city that also has harbors, also has townhouses. It's got to be, it's not a mess. It's not the worst I've seen. I've certainly seen a hell of a lot worse. But I can tell you he's not working off of the optimal city design right there. So anyway, but the primary goal of this scout and attack was to let him know I'm still here, let him know I'm going to do more than send single Zerks at him like I've been doing throughout the days, and primarily to skim through and see what his city, I'm not going to find the other report way further down, but bottom line is he hasn't done any major changes. He hasn't even changed his hideout, which means he's micromanaging this. He only has one level 10 hideout, which means for him to keep his resources this low, he's got to be on this thing constantly, shipping it out, because he doesn't have any other places locally to send it. He's either destroying resources so I don't get them, which is probably what he actually did, or he's shipping them out almost as fast as they can be brought in. So anyway, what was his harbor count? Yeah, he's got 3 harbors, which is kind of interesting. I don't know that he can export. In fact, I can tell you right now, he gave race resources to one of his alliance buddies in this area, or dumped them, or did something, because with only 3 level 10 harbors and low level hideouts, there's no way he kept his resources this low without visiting this thing he couldn't get his resources out fast enough. I know the math on that. Anyway, bottom line, not that big of a deal. I just figured I'd save you the time of asking him for a screenshot, because there it is. Woo, here's Sniz being an idiot. Oh my god. He wouldn't understand what I was doing if I made him a video. Anyway, so back to this attack, inbound attack. That's the main thing I want to cover. I'll definitely be a two-parter. Let me at least get started on it. Jacob 20. I have been hitting Meridian. It's kind of unfortunate. I warned all the DAK members that they were a target. Unfortunately, I didn't really have anything specific against Meridian. I don't even know the guy, but he's wearing a DAK tag. He's on a city, on our shrine. He gets attacked, period. Until something changes with our status DAK, that's how it is. So anyway, I've been hitting him pretty hard, pretty good. I've probably got somewhere near 1 million resources from him over the last few days. Hitting both of his Jacob and Roland cities here. Just grabbing, I don't know what that's, 150, 200k there. Just grabbing some resources here and there. I'll also send false attacks too. I've had him under some false attacks pretty consistently and so on. Finally, he decided, my guess is he's doing this strictly from anger. He decided to go ahead and attack me on 21. So my little cluster of cities down here. So he has an inbound attack, and this is what I mainly wanted to cover. I'm going to go ahead and end part 1 here. We're at about 9 minutes, and I'm going to really dig into the nitty-gritty of what you can learn. Basically, this is going to be about situational awareness, the information you can use to really tell what's going on, and I'll cover that in the next video, ending this one for now.